Joining me now from Covington, Kentucky, attorney for Nick Sandmann, Todd McMurtry. Todd, you have a couple of pieces of evidence in particular. You have a lot of evidence, but two in particular stand out. One is statements from Nathan Phillips. If folks remember, that's the gentleman who was beating the drum in the face of your client, Nick Sandmann. And the other is a video. I want to talk about the Washington Post in reporting Phillips' statements. And I'm going to play devil's advocate here for you. How do you hold a publication liable for quoting somebody in a story, even if he's telling a bold-faced lie? If you come on this program and you lie, those are words that you say. I'm not responsible for what you say. So how do you hold a newspaper liable for that?
Well, generally, Graham, what happens is that if a person repeats a defamatory statement, they're just as liable as if they had made the statement themselves, and that applies to the Washington Post. In the Washington Post circumstance and the other defendants that we have sued in this case, that's in essence what we're saying, that they republished Nathan Phillips' false factual narrative, false statements, and they did so in a way that was negligent. And we're alleging that what they should have done is been more careful about what they were saying, especially as it relates to a private figure like Nicholas Sandmann, who was also a minor at the time. So I think the law supports what we're doing.
But there is also a tone of the reporting, right? I'm not devil's advocate anymore. I'm putting on your advocate. And that is the tone of reporting was that Nick was the aggressor when he was not. And Nick is, this kind of thinly veiled attempt to paint him as a racist. And those are included, are they not, in what you're going after?
Yeah, absolutely. What we're saying is that the Washington Post and others took these statements from Nathan Phillips. The statements were false, and then they republished them. And they made, in context, if you look at the context of the entire article or the various news reports, in context, it made it appear that Nicholas Sandmann had engaged in racist misconduct, which is absolutely false. He did absolutely nothing wrong.
All right, so the unsourced video, as you call it in your filings in the court, the unsourced viral video, just to remind folks what it looked like, roll tape. Now, you're also including this. I guess effectively you're alleging that the Washington Post should not have posted this on their website. But again, devil's advocate, we have this thing called the First Amendment, right? And this video's out there in the public domain, and they stick it on their website. Again, how do you hold them liable for that?
Well, I think if they had just shown that clip and they hadn't gone and tied it to racist misconduct, then that wouldn't have been a problem. But it's when you allege or charge someone with racial misconduct or racism in some action that furthers that, that's defamatory. And so by combining that video with the statements from Nathan Phillips in the context of the article that the Post published, then you get actionable defamation.
Now, this judge initially was dismissing the case, but suddenly he had an epiphany. Obviously, your pleadings must have changed his mind. By the way, I believe this judge was appointed by Jimmy Carter, for the record. So what was the moment that changed his mind? Was it other videos that he saw that you presented as evidence?
That's it in part. What we did is when we saw Judge Bertelsman's order, we saw that if we added some additional information, in light of what he had said and how he had described things, that we could possibly overcome his adverse decision. So what we did is we provided some longer videos to show exactly what happened, all in context, so that the judge knew exactly what would happen. Whereas that little short clip video, you can't tell that the truth that Nathan Phillips approached Nicholas Sandmann and confronted him, which is the opposite of what happened. So we added those videos, and then we also added some allegations against Mr. Phillips, which alleged that he was in essence a professional protester, a provocateur, and a troublemaker. And so I think that gave the judge some additional perspective, and that was enough for him to change his decision in part.
And don't get me wrong, I think it's high time that the mainstream media is held accountable, and the Washington Post and this story in particular, I think, is a good place to start. Todd, keep us informed on what's going on in court. Thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.